So now we're ready to go. Thanks for waiting.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm excited to talk to you about Twitter Demographer. So first of all, I think there has been a bit of introduction, but hi, I am Federico. As already said, I'm a postdoc at Stanford. I've been a postdoc at Bocconi University with Dirk Hovey, and I've been working on NLP and CSS. I've kind of many different works in this direction. What today I'm gonna show you is about this Python package to somehow extend Twitter data with additional information. I did a couple of different things. I work on this package of contextualized topic models that is both can work in language-specific setting and also multilingual. I've done a bit of work in e-commerce with Reckless, that is this evaluation package for a calendar system. And one of my recent interests is around multimodal models, for example, text and vision. I was part of the team that trained, for example, the CLIP contrastive language image pre-training model in Italian. And this is one of the things that I like most right now, that is combining text and images and understanding if it's possible to build this kind of ground between the meaning of words and the actual object they can represent in pictures. I'm always happy to chat about ideas. So after the talk, or even during the discussion, I'm happy to talk about anything you think is interesting. And happy to discuss. So let's start with Twitter Demographer. So Twitter Demographer is this library to extend Twitter data with additional information. The idea is somehow to bridge the gap between very complex and sophisticated tools and somehow the more direct users that might want to use this. And for example, this could be computational social scientists that want to analyze Twitter data, but might not have the energy to download code that has been built by CS people and so on and so forth. So the idea is for today is that I'll have something 5 minutes of slides, 10 minutes of playing with the code and see a bit of things. I'm happy then to chat and to discuss about this kind of different things that can open up from here. I'm also happy to get some kind of feedback about the tool itself, because it's still kind of a beta version and not a complete version. But yeah, happy to chat. Then I think if you're in Europe, your day is finishing, but my day is gonna start right after the talk. So yeah. So what's Twitter Demographer? So the general idea is that Twitter gives you a lot of information, and you'd like to extend this in the easiest way as possible. And the question is, can we make the extraction easier? Can we somehow find a way to combine different tools to make the extension of the Twitter data easier? And what Twitter Demographer is essentially this Python library that with few lines of code allows you to do, for example, the reconstruction, so the rehydration. And this means that you can extend the tweet ID with multiple kind of data, screen name, location, and the text. Then you can have a part in which you disambiguate the location. This can be done with geonames or with tool like OpenStreetMap to get a more standard geolocation. Then what you want to use is, for example, sentiment analysis, and you can import an active-based classifier to do this. And another step you might want to do is to predict additional attributes, for example, demographic attributes. And this can be done by using the image picture of the speaker. And finally, one of the last part is the anonymization that we apply to somehow protect the privacy of people. We try to remove all the very personal information and leave what can be used for somehow additional analysis. We call this flow-based tool because the idea is that each component that we build can go into another component, in the sense that the tweet IDs go into the rehydration component. The rehydration component generates some fields that are added to the data. You have another set of data that can go into the geolocation. For example, the geolocation is going to use this location information to build an additional information that is the disambiguated location. So from Milan, the geolocalizer, for example, GeoNames, is going to tell you that Milan is a city in Italy, for example. The tool is pretty easy to extend. So if you have your own classifier or you want to implement your own like counting pipeline, you can just implement the component class. For example, imagine you have like a sentiment classifier. You just introduce the classifier as an argument to the Python model, define which are the inputs, for example, the text, since it's a sentiment classifier. The output is somehow the column that you want to add, and eventually you just need to do the prediction on a pandas data frame and get all the results on your new column. There are obviously kind of a few ethical aspects. We discussed this in more detail in the paper, but we still infer user information from user data, and this might like not be super in general sense fair. It's also involves some very ethical kind of consideration. For example, the gender predictor obviously uses the image to do the prediction. This is definitely not fair. We're not trying to make any normative statement around this. We are just kind of wrapping up the idea, but obviously what we can currently have right now with obviously partial level of accuracy is a binary representation of gender that we know it's limited. To prevent kind of privacy violations, we dropped user fields. We encode user IDs with hashing. So it means that once you have the final data frame in output, you won't have access to the user ID, but you'll have access to the hashing of the user ID. This means that if you have multiple tweets by the same user, you will be able to detect that those are by the same user, but you will not be able to like reconstruct who actually the user is. We shuffle the data set. We add some noise to make it like more difficult to reconstruct. This noise is around the 1% or 1% of the data, so it shouldn't like compromise analysis in the aggregation. But still, we think that like this kind of thing can allow us to better protect this kind of thing. The general idea in this context is that Twitter Demographer is just a big wrapper around existing tools. So we try to get the best of both worlds without trying to go beyond like some of the user limitations. So some of the components we have integrated, I'll just do a quick overview and then we can go to the code part. We have obviously the rehydration with the Twitter API v2. We have the toxicity detection with the perspective API. So once you have the perspective API token, you can add it to the platform and it's gonna introduce all the capabilities of the perspective API. We have the geolocalization that is based on OpenStreetMap. So what we are gonna use is this user written field. We use it on OpenStreetMap via API and we get the disambiguation. We predict demographic attribute with this kind of a recent paper. It is a 2019 in which people show that you can use like text information and images to predict age and gender from data. We can integrate all the Hugging Face classifier. I have an example of this in the actual code. And we also have some lexicon. For example, if you have Luke, you can use Luke inside the platform and get all the annotation for Luke. And you can also like use empath that is like somehow an open source version of Luke, if we call it like this. So you can all have like this kind of word counter to better analyze Twitter data. There are a bunch also of future components that we are working on. The first one is topic modeling. CTMs and LDA are implemented, but I'm not sure how easy it is to use them. Topic model have this kind of thing that you need to run them a couple of times and look at the coherence to actually understand which is the best kind of modeling. Currently, this is not this does not frame very well with the Twitter Demographer framework, in which you just want to run things once and get all the results. We also are adding Fairface Predictor. That is like this new paper that also predict additional components about demographic characteristic of people. And yeah, let's play a bit with the code. Sorry, let me go here and run this. So this is Twitter Demographer. I'm right now importing a couple of libraries, but let's skip this. So I have like my let me remove this. I have my hidden tokens here that I'm not gonna show, but like these are used for the rehydration of Twitter, and these are also for the perspective API we're gonna see in a bit. So this is my data.
Without wanting to be annoying, can you increase the text size a bit?
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
No worries.
Is this better?
This is perfect.
Yeah, sounds good. So we have like this is the data. You see, I have some tweet IDs here. I'm using the Twitter demographer. I have three components here: the rehydration pipeline, the nominative decoder that is like for disambiguation of the location, and a sentiment classifier from Hugging Face. I just add the components to the demographer and I run the inference pipeline. The decoder is like very long to run because I'm using the somehow online endpoint that is public, and I'm like keeping the rate limit low by having I think 2 seconds of sleep before each request so that they don't ban me from the online kind of presentation. But this is just to give an idea. So once you've done this, what you get is like a data frame in which you, for example, have all the location have been disambiguated. For example, these are tweet by Hillary Clinton, New York. You see that you have City of New York in the United States. You have the sentiment. These are tweet by me. So Stanford has been recognized as Palo Alto, United States. And let's see another couple of one. This is from Zurich and it's been recognized at Zurich, Switzerland. This is from another place in Zurich that hasn't been associated with a city, but you have the country and you have all the sentiment annotation here, where 2 is positive and you see like super cool swag kit or fail to announce it's positive. 1 is neutral and 0 is negative. That's because the media is full of shit is a tweet that is like negative. Let me see. Okay, let's add another component. So for example, we might want to add gender and age. And let me run this and see how long does it. Oh yeah, I need to do the reconstruction. Yeah, I could have skipped it, but yeah, fine. This is how it is. So like right now is generally rerunning the geocoding. You see that like it's it says component number 3. So right now it's running the sentiment analysis pipeline. There is a bunch of logging that I need to switch off, but the general idea that it should work nevertheless. So once this is finished, what you get in output is that all the peoples have been annotated with gender and age. So for example, my tweets are these 2, and you see like I'm predicted as a 1929 male. This is a tweet by Donald Trump Jr. So it's like it's older than 40. This is a tweet by Sylvia, so it's 30-39 and female. This is a tweet by Dear COVID, 30-39 male, and this is a tweet by my friend Vincenzo from Switzerland, and it's like again positive, 30-39 male, and you also like the tool tells you if the profile is an organization or not, and this might be useful like to divide actual people with organizations. So with like few lines of code, what you get is that you can simply combine information and get this huge data set that you can somehow aggregate wherever you want. So you can separate people by age and analyze if there are different patterns with respect to sentiment and with respect to other kind of characteristics. Let me do another thing. So we can have like the toxicity detection. So Perspective API offer a rate of different attributes you can add. For example, here I'm just gonna use the toxicity attribute, but they also have like severe toxicity, identity attack, they have profanity, they have insults, I think, and they have like presence of sexual content. So you can use this to give more kind of extend again your data. And for example, you can separate things that are like only negative with things that are like toxic, for example. Here is still dropping some logging. Let me see if it finished. Right now is doing the prediction. Right now is running the toxicity API I need to change the kind of loading bar. Again, this is very slow because I have high rate limit to avoid by banning me, but you have like, if you have the toxicity API, you can use this and it takes seconds to annotate big data sets. So for example, the only tweet here that was like kind of toxic was that's because the media is full of shit. And you can see the toxicity of this is around 0.68. And this is the only toxic tweet we have here. So yeah, this is like a high level kind of view on the tool. I mapped it like to chat to discuss about this. So yeah, feel free to ask questions. I think I'm perfectly in the 15 minutes of presentation. So
Right. No, thank you so much, Federico. I think that was a very clear and simple introduction to this super versatile tool.